It's through the eyes of Rue, keeping it real, keeping it Rue. Rue and who? What's that you say? Keeping it real, keeping it real.
Hey, we are here with a brand new guest. And it is LiNda LauTReC. Welcome. I'm looking for certain things. Well, thank you. And what is this piece of work?
I thought you were going to say something else. This is a copy of my old film, Breakfast with Blassie. Oh, this is a copy of my film, Breakfast with Blassie, which I made years ago. And this is the, I believe this is the new. I would have autographed the plastic, but it wouldn't hold.
Oh, okay. Wow. So this is a movie?
This is a movie that I made years ago with Andy Kaufman and Freddie Blassie.
Wow. So what was Andy Kaufman like? Is he as great as everybody says? Or better?
Better.
Of course. That's what I was thinking.
He was actually a really nice guy.
He had to be. He had to be. Because, yeah, it just makes sense. So they're in this?
Right. That was actually...
You wrote it?
I wrote it, directed, produced it, edited, everything.
Oh my gosh, that's a lot of work.
Well...
And you're still alive to talk about it.
A lot of work. Yeah, I'm still alive to talk about it. Who would have thought so?
It's amazing. So are you still working in this?
I've been a filmmaker for years. Actually, we just relicensed this now, Breakfast with Blassie.
What's it about? Can you give a little
Sure, it's
trailer?
Okay, well actually, my husband and I went to see My Dinner with Andre, and with Andre Gregory and Wallace Shawn, and afterwards I said, we were laughing at like how we were actually still awake, and so I said, it would be nice if why don't we do something with Fred, because we managed Fred Blassie for years, and I had taken him on the Uncle Floyd show, which at that time was, remember that Uncle Floyd show?
Yeah, people tell me he's like my inspiration.
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe. So we actually, I took Fred on there and he spun me around with a t-shirt. And anyway, so I said, we were going to do, my husband's a rockabilly singer. We were going to do,
I kind of remember
right,
that.
Johnny Legend. So we were going to do something with,
past life.
Right, exactly. That's my skeleton. So with Ray Campy or, and I said, what do we do with Andy Kaufman? Because Andy was a big fan of Fred's. Fred used to say, who's this Andy Kaufman guy? He keeps calling me and bothering me.
Oh my God,
So,
life could be so terrible.
Yeah.
Did he sing
didn't know him.
This is Andy Kaufman. Like, did he sound just like Cyndi Lauper?
Like Vodka?
Yeah.
No, Andy was Andy was sort of a wrestling
So he was more like Jim Neighbors? Like, he really sounded normal?
He sounded normal. He actually, Andy was pretty normal in many ways, just a little eccentric, but,
He wasn't Robin Williams.
It's a different type of comedy.
Yeah.
Right. Andy would do things that I actually would find funny that some people might not if they paid a lot of money,
Like what?
Do his bring out a washer and dryer and do his laundry on stage, and that was the performance.
Totally relate to
It's
Andy
like
Kaufman.
very punk rock.
I like his humor. I like his brand humor.
Right. I thought was actually pretty funny.
What was this washer and dryer? Like, not like...
I don't know. I wasn't there. I had to do my laundry on my own. So.
Yeah, to be able to bring one to it.
Right.
When
Yeah,
he did
he
the
was-
record, and then he would just stand up there and kind of like do
Right.
a build on
And he
that,
was-
and he's quite amazing, I think.
Right. Mickey Mouse. He would do his Mickey Mouse and his Elvis impressions. But when we were making this film, I on the phone trying to figure out. This was sort of loosely choreographed. When I say scripted, it wasn't exactly scripted, but he had planned for Bob Zamuda. Bob Zamuda actually went on to do comic relief. He was the Tony Clifton character. Do you know about Tony Clifton?
No, tell me.
Rob, you know Tony Clifton?
I remember the Tony Clifton thing. He would come out and do that character, and I think people didn't know whether it was real or not, or they didn't know it was him. I think that's
Right. Well, sometimes it was Bob Zamuda and sometimes it was Andy. And Tony Clifton was also being very offensive and obnoxious. Like if he would go out and see Polish people in the audience. He would make Polish jokes. I mean, it was funny because it was so completely obnoxious,
right, so over the top.
Right.
That's right.
Well,
that
what-
you had to know that it was maybe a gag and not a real person coming out and
Right.
doing it.
My favorite was one time he did. I did it my way, and he was in a chair, and as he was singing, the chair kept going my way till it was up at the top. I mean, he was funny, but anyway, so Bob.
Wait, I want to know. That's all. Oh wait, finish that sentence.
Okay, so Bob Zimmerman was Andy's best friend, and so Andy said, "Well, we'll have Bob come out." Homophobic. I mean, not more than most of what.
Are you?
Sure.
I'm not. I love germs. I'm more the
really?
George Carlin.
Oh, really?
kind of
Oh,
stuff.
no, I'm
I
more
love
of
George
OC
Carlin.
guy, so.
George Carlin makes the most sense to me.
But one thing Andy said, he says it in the film, and I agree with him. He said, when he goes somewhere and he takes he said, well, the idea was that I would come up and ask for his autograph, which I did, and then he would be repulsed by the fact that the fact that he had touched a fan. It would be his fan, right? He would touch my hand, and then Bob
Oh,
Zimmerman.
that much? Like he didn't even want to touch your hand?
Well, that was. I
You
mean,
sure he wasn't putting you on?
Well, no, that was something we had discussed.
Everything in the film was like real, surreal. You didn't know
Well,
whether
that was-
anything was real with him or not.
Right. Well, that was something we had choreographed. That we had said we would do. So then I did it, but it looks like he's repulsed. But actually, one of the things that happened is that I'm not producing an edit, so it was really a crazy time. So I went up and I went to say, "Can I have your autograph?" And I said, "Can I have my autograph?" Embarrassing, and we thought, should we cut it out? No, we'll leave it in because I was like some dorky fan. So,
yeah.
although I have to say, every time I see it, that's in this. So then Andy said, so I come up and I ask for his autograph, and he recoils at the touch of my hand, and then I hate to ruin what happens here, but he takes out some stuff out of his nose, and he pulls. It's really disgusting. The ideas to discuss Andy, but that was all sort of.
Was it like a cloth or was it gross?
Well, it was something he had. Actually, one of the funnier parts, actually. I don't know. I didn't make it.
I did the makeup.
We didn't sell fake snot, but Andy said I could think it's like some kind of plastic stuff. So Andy, in the movie, if you want to buy some fake snot, I have some.
Oh, really? There you go. See,
And
I
then
hadn't felt that.
And so then Bob comes out with it, but he pulls off. That's of course.
Yeah, like the mask kind of guy, like Jim Carroll. Jim
Right.
Carroll.
Well, Jim Carroll. Right. Exactly.
Carrie.
The other Jim that didn't die.
Anyway, so Andy was actually, when we made this film, this is something people know, when we made the film, and Andy
Oh, man.
he said he was going to know, he was not going to go
So where
with
can
the
people
show.
find this? Is it
Well,
like-
actually, it's okay. It's actually we're just relicensing it now to VCS. It's video. Let's see. Video services. What does it say here? Video service. It's a company out of Canada. Video. I think. Well, they have different company names. But VCS, and you can see it online. It's also they actually licensed it also online to Snag Films.
So
and
is
you
there a
can get the
website that is best to find it?
Video, I guess VCS,
What's your
VCS website
Do you have a website?
fixed. So, LauTReC Legend Productions, and I'm obviously LauTReC.
Toulouse?
As my husband used to say, when they see your height, they'll get the joke.
Yeah.
He's well. What happened is that we managed Freddie Blassie for years. Weird fans, and my husband was Johnny Legend. And I said, well, I didn't. So I had always
too.
exactly. So exactly. So I had always been a fan of LauTReC, so I said I'll be LiNda LauTReC, and that name.
His paintings.
No.
And any copies even?
I had copies, yeah.
Yeah.
Copies, so
Yeah.
I sell them on the website, maybe autographed.
Well,
I'm actually trying to keep Passover to some extent, a
Oh.
minor extent,
good
but
for you. Good
Wow.
for you. I remember
you
when I
witnessed it here, right?
heard what that was. Well, would you like a little sand
Oh,
candy?
thank you, I'll take that.
There you go.
Thank you
So,
very much.
what about, do you have a skeleton in your closet? Like,
All
it
kinds
seems
of
like
them.
you've known a lot of nitty gritty kind of.
I have, but
Can you tell?
one skeleton might be that when we first finished this film, when we edited it, we showed it to Andy's agent, who was George Shapiro. George Shapiro was also.
Do you think they're keeping Passover too? They might, right?
But what George said, I just hope they sell it in the Philippines. But unfortunately, he didn't get his wish.
Wow. On right now.
Okay, right now, what I'm actually working on several projects right now. One is I'm re-editing. I'm actually looking at we're looking at a commemorative edition of this. Another one with a promotion and a screening. I'll let you know. Another one is my 9/11 film, which I have the only footage of the APA spokesperson. I have the 9/11 Commission interviewing Giuliani. I have like amazing stuff that no one has. So I'm re-editing that again. VSC is licensing that, and I'm also doing something called adjunct photograph exhibit, which is filming. I do a lot of photography also. One photography thing that I've been doing for a year or so is something called The City That Never Sleeps, with a lot of black and white photographs of people in New York sleeping, mainly on the subway. So the face
It's a
of it.
lot of meditating these days, though.
Well,
You'd be surprised.
I don't know, the snoring is a
That's
sort of a
different.
tip
Yeah.
that they might be asleep.
But I know meditating is popular on the
Oh, is it?
subways. Yeah.
Maybe that's what they're doing.
What's your secret with that project? Maintaining a good shot, minus the flash, of course, while they're sleeping.
Very difficult, actually. I mean, my daughter's gone with me sometimes on the subway. She said, "You're going to get punched." But it's really hard because I also use my phone.
Privacy too. Are you really
Because
allowed to do
the
that?
thought is
You are allowed
absolutely
to
beautiful.
do it.
You are?
You are allowed to do it.
For what is it? Editorial. You're allowed to.
Well, listen,
right?
you're allowed to do it if you're allowed to do it.
Okay.
The point is, I think you can't profit by
wonder
it.
we're being watched.
Exactly.
Well,
right.
there is a Gatto's watching. There we go.
All right, this is going to go on my City Never Sleeps. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, it's true.
But you're allowed. There are kind of restrictions, but not as many as you would think. So the point is that I try to make it, respectful of people.
Yeah.
And it's all.
Do you publish it?
Well, I have been asked actually. B&H wanted me to do.
Get the whole your book.
Right, that's me. But I think as long as you don't profit by it, and I try to be respectful. What I like to do, what I try to do is get segmented pictures, so it's not just like a picture. The funny thing, I don't know if you watch people on the subway, like they're sleeping, first they're here, then their head's here, then they're there, then on the floor.
It's like a nice, funny Eiffel Tower thing going on.
Exactly,
Well,
right.
Leaning Tower of Pisa thing.
Well, exactly, Leaning Tower of people. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly, I like that, right. So then the face of an adjunct is taking photographs of adjuncts. I'm also an adjunct professor. And that's a project I've been looking at doing.
Good for you. So it keeps you busy. Would you like to push a button?
Totally.
How appropriate. That's a perfect button for you. Yeah.
That's for
funny.
Andy.
Yeah, it's for Andy.
Exactly.
Exactly. LiNda LauTReC, the Lucy's distant relative. Yeah, not blood sister. Exactly. We'll be back. There's not more.
keeping it real, keeping it you. Keeping it real, keeping it rude.